Living in a new city alone is not at all what I expected. It's been very lonely, isolating, has come with a lot of discomfort, but at the same time, it has been the most transformative experience of my life. When I decided to make this decision, I knew it was going to change my life. And if you're watching this video, I assume that one point or another in your life, you have decided that you either want to move somewhere by yourself or you've already made that decision. And I want this video to serve as encouragement for you to make that decision in your life or to embrace the decision that you've already made. When I decided to change my environment and uproot my entire life, it made me realize that growth and expansion comes with a lot of discomfort. There came a point where I had outgrown where I currently was, and I knew that if I was wanting more growth, it was time to make a change for myself if I wanted to experience a massive shift, not only in my ability to level up in my own life, but also to understand what I am truly capable of achieving. I wanted to be around more, I wanted to see more for myself. I wanted to experience a different type of lifestyle and expose myself to the people that were already living a life that I was dreaming about. Throughout the experience of changing my environment and moving to a new city alone, I have expanded so much as a person, but it's not easy. It is not something that is just simple to go through. It is a very raw and vulnerable experience to put yourself through, and the highest version of myself was waiting on the other side of that uncomfortable growth. When we crave this idea of starting over in our life, it is for a reason. It is because we feel like we've grown to the best of our ability where we currently are, and it's time to expand as a person. And if we want to start exposing ourselves to more, seeing our potential, really knowing what we're capable of, we have to be willing to challenge everything that we've ever known and leave behind the environment that we are very comfortable in. When I first moved to a new environment, the first year was very challenging for me. I was still showing up as the old version of myself. I was partying, I was going out, I was just engaging in a lot of habits that the old version of me just really hung on to. And I knew that if I wanted to embrace the ability of living somewhere new and actually realizing my own potential in life, there was going to come a point where I had to come face to face with my old self and basically let her go so that I can embrace this experience to the best of my ability and get the most out of it. Because part of wanting a new environment is also wanting a new version of yourself, wanting to step into the dream version of yourself that you've always been envisioning. Because I know that's what I wanted from my experience. I wasn't just craving a new environment, I was craving a new version of myself. And so when I moved here that first year, yeah, I was really tied to old habits. I was tied to my old self. I was tied to the old version of myself, and I was hanging on to it because it's all that I'd ever known. It was very familiar to me, but it wasn't helping me push my comfort zone. I was somewhere new, but I was not being a new version of myself. There came a point where I had to let go of this old identity. I had to let go of this old version of myself if I wanted to experience a different life that I was craving for myself. And so after the first year of moving, I started to be very honest with myself about who I'm being in my life, how I show up every single day, and what identity that I'm stepping into. And honestly, I know a lot of people can relate to this, but when you put yourself in a new environment, you're going to realize that you don't really identify with who you used to be anymore. And so there becomes this disconnect of being somewhere new, but not necessarily feeling like the version of you that matches your environment. There was a time where I felt really lost. I felt like I had just moved and now I have no idea who I am. And it really made me crave where I came from again. It made me want to go back. It made me want to leave this whole experience behind because I didn't want to go through the discomfort or the uncomfortable growth of becoming a brand new version of myself who is thriving, living in her own potential, experiencing the life that I dreamt about. It really made me realize that the only way to grow and expand into my own potential in life and actually get the most results out of it, I needed to start embracing that loneliness and isolation and realize that it is trying to launch me into this season of my life that I had always dreamt of living in. Pushing our comfort zone is so crucial to step into a life that we've always envisioned for ourselves, and especially changing our environments, it is really necessary to embrace all uncomfortable aspects of that process. I knew that it was going to change my life. I had no idea how much or in what way, and honestly, it did not go at all what I expected it to. But it's not a bad thing. And I know that when we're craving the experience of living in a new environment, reinventing ourselves, becoming a brand new version of ourselves, who we are being every single day is tied to a lot of things in our life. And honestly, our environment plays a huge factor with the identity that we are choosing. Living in a new city by yourself is not for the weak. but it's actually really important. It is for the people who are not afraid of uncomfortable change. In order to find and meet the version of yourself that you are craving of being, it is on the other side of discomfort. It is on the other side of challenging everything that you've ever known, and that is always going to be influenced by your environment. When I decided to put myself in a new city, yes, it came with a lot of discomfort and change all at once, but it was very necessary to start becoming the version of myself that I'd always envisioned in my life. In order to become a new version of ourselves, we have to have new experiences. We have to expose ourselves to more. We have to be willing to put ourselves in new spaces around new people that push our comfort zone, that challenge who we are as a person. That is how we step into a life that is fulfilling, that is purposeful, that is overall just very expansive. If I didn't learn to embrace the isolation and the loneliness, I wouldn't be able to now be in a version of myself that my younger self used to dream of being. And honestly, it is a very weird experience to start living a life that is nothing like the one that you came from. Where I live now looks nothing like the environment that I grew up in. And it was very hard for me to adjust to this for the longest time. It was hard for me to accept this decision. And I always just wanted to focus on the negative aspects, especially within the first year of living here, where I just felt misaligned with what I always saw for myself, or it wasn't going the way that I had wanted, or I wasn't embracing it in the way that I know that I needed to. All of that was actually giving me the experience that I was craving for myself. Reinvention is one of the fastest ways to build a new life for yourself. Start seeing new experiences, exposing yourself to more, and honestly, exposure is the hack to life. It is a hack to changing your life, achieving anything that you'd ever wanted for yourself. Give yourself that experience, change your environment, put yourself somewhere new, allow yourself to embrace something that looks very different than where you came from, because that is exactly what you're craving. That's what we all crave when we want to live somewhere new. We want the experience of starting over, but really we want to be able to step into a version of ourselves that we know that we're capable of being. Changing your environment is more so just about letting yourself become who you'd always wanted to be, and you deserve to become that version of yourself. Push your comfort zone, because I promise you it will bring you results in your life that you once felt like was impossible. I live in my dream apartment in a city that my younger self used to pray to live in. If you ever wanted to change your environment, this is your sign to do it. This is your sign to push past your limits and put yourself somewhere brand new so that you can build the life of your dreams. If you want to step into your potential, let go of everything that you've ever known that is familiar to you. Stop identifying with a life that is the opposite of what you want. Learn to embrace your own potential, chase your dreams, and stop holding yourself back from a life that is fulfilling, that is meaningful to you, that is different than anything that you've ever been shown. And let go of this idea that your life needs to be comfortable. The only way to grow and expand is to constantly challenge yourself, and the best way to do that is to change your environment. If you want to level up, push past your limits, and step into the version of yourself that you know you are capable of being, if you want to completely transform your life, make this decision. I promise you, you will not regret it. I cannot wait to take you guys on this journey with me and keep showing you all the growth that I've experienced so that you can apply it to your life as well. And I will see you in the next video.